Welcome back to the Champion Forum podcast. I am your host, Jeff Hancher, and I am on a mission to help others reach their fullest potential. We have another great listener question today, and this question comes from a frustrated salesperson. But before I address the question, I'd like to welcome any first-time listener or recent listener to the show. Maybe you're new to the show, and if you are, I want to encourage you to do two things for me. One, I want you to go back and listen to the very first episode. In this episode, I share my heart behind the show. This is going to give you a better understanding of who I am, what my journey is, why did I start this show, and hey, what credibility do I have to even be doing a podcast anyway, right? So go back to that first episode. That'll give you a great intro into who I am. The second thing is, don't just be a consumer of content, but be a doer of content. This show is a great way, obviously, to consume content. But we have created show notes for every single show. And by downloading these, getting these downloaded right to your email every week, you can now not only just consume, but these show notes will give you application activities. They will give you questions that will provoke thought on how you can take from consuming to delivering and executing on what you're learning on the show. If you want to get these downloaded straight to your inbox, go to jeffhancher.com/show notes. Or you can just go to the podcast section of the website, and at the top there's a button. You put your email in, and they come there to you every single week. But if you are new, thank you for being a part of this journey. We do not take that lightly, and we consider it a privilege and an honor to serve you all. All right, let's jump into this listener question. So here's the question. Hey, Jeff, I'm a B2B sales representative, and I'm responsible for doing my own prospecting to drive new appointments. I make several calls per week and have sent countless emails with very little success. What advice do you have that could help me drive more prospect sales calls? Thanks so much, Melissa. Well, Melissa, let me start by congratulating you for making a lot of effort. You're putting in the work. You're doing the hard thing. Prospecting is not easy. Sometimes in sales, it takes sheer grit and a lot of will to get over the hump and to win. So let me congratulate you for reaching out for help as well. Sometimes you have to put your ego aside, put your pride aside. I often say that one of the keys to success is getting around others that have been where you desire to go. And I can certainly tell that you mean business, and I can also let you know that I've been there. And so you're reaching out to somebody that has probably failed more than most people have tried in sales. I've been kicked out of the meetings. I've had doors slammed on me. You name it. I've been there. I could, write you a very sad story about all of my prospecting woes. I've been rejected a lot. But here's the thing. If you're listening and you're in sales and you are responsible for prospecting, we can all agree that it's one of the hardest tasks that we have as salespeople. Why? It's full of rejection. It's full of hang-ups, and sometimes some not so nice people. If you're like most salespeople, you're probably focusing on the same old tactics to get in front of your ideal customers. And this is what I see when I go into organizations. When here comes the frustration, I get it everywhere I go. Jeff, this prospecting thing, man, it's daunting. Man, it's full of rejection. Nothing's working. Well, you're probably just relying on the same old things that have become stagnant. Email blasts, phone cold calls, etc. Go down the list. By the way, I'm not telling you don't do email blasts. And if you've sat through any of my sales academy or any of my sales training, I love phone prospecting. I don't necessarily love rejection, but I love what getting good at phone prospecting can do for my sales funnel. So don't sleep on the phones. But you can't just be a one-trick pony when it comes to prospecting, especially when you're prospecting your target potential clients. These are the big ones. These are the ones that are harder to get meetings with. These are the ones that are very complex in nature. These are the ones that could have multiple buying influences. These are the hardest doors to open, so we have to get a little more strategic. We have to get a little more creative. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying do this or that. I'm saying do this or that. However, if you really want to differentiate yourself and you want to stand out from the sea of all of the other sales reps that are vying for the attention of your decision makers, you got to be a little bit different. You have to start thinking outside the box. The key here is to stand out and become memorable. Sometimes it's just a matter of you capturing the attention of other people. So I want to give you a few ideas, some things that have worked for me along the way. The first thing that I would tell you to do is send a personalized video to this decision maker. And let's just stop and digest this personalized video. How many personalized videos have you received in the last 12 months? How many have you received? I'll bet it's less than 5, and I'll bet many of you are saying 0. You're making my point. So you personalize a video and you send it, and you can send it in multiple formats. My favorite is LinkedIn. And don't do this via LinkedIn InMail. We all know if you get a LinkedIn InMail, you're getting what? A pitch. Nobody likes to be sold. Everybody likes to buy. So the first thing you do is you identify your prospect. You identify the decision maker that you want to reach out to. You send them a LinkedIn connection request. 95% of people will accept your request. Why? Because they want to build their network as well. So now you're a first connection. Now it's game on. Now you go in there, you hit that blue message button. Now opens up this message platform, right? And then in the bottom left, there's a little paper clip there. You hit that paper clip and you begin to record a video. Well, Jeff, I'm not really good at video. Get good at video. Well, Jeff, I don't know what to say. Well, get good at creating a script, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But hey, another shameless plug for the Sales Academy. If you don't know how to deliver a powerful interest-creating statement that's going to capture someone's attention and compel them to take a meeting with you, then you got work to do, and we can help you do that. LinkedIn is the best way. It's personal. It's customized. It's not this email blast that you've sent to 1 million people. When it's customized, it's telling that person, I'm not just sitting in a studio giving some, generic stagnant message that, 10,000 people are going to hear. No, when I'm reaching out to Brad Martin at ABC Company, I'm saying, hey, Brad, it's Jeff. Listen, the reason I'm calling. Now Brad knows this is for him. Like, this isn't a copy paste. Like, I took time. I mean business. I'm polished. I'm absolutely ready to go. This will resonate with people. By the way, if you got a LinkedIn video sent to you, the first thing you see is this still frame. Are you hitting play? I'll bet you do. Why? Because how many LinkedIn videos have you received in your LinkedIn DMs in the last 12 months? Probably less than 5, and most of you are saying 0. Now look, you can also send these videos by way of an email, which isn't a bad idea. You can do that if they're not on LinkedIn, but I will tell you, I've had the most success with LinkedIn. This is how I've gotten some amazing guests on my podcast, by the way. And here, I'll tell you this. Most of them are tracking their own LinkedIn. Decision makers for sure. But I got personal messages back from the likes of a Michael Watkins, a Tim Elmore, which both have become mentors in a way to me. Why? All because of a LinkedIn message that I sent, a LinkedIn video. You get text DMs all the time in LinkedIn. That's not special anymore. Don't do that. And look, if you're not comfortable with video, then you could do a voice memo also in LinkedIn. But I'm telling you, don't let it be an excuse that I'm just not comfortable in front of the camera to do it. Get comfortable. If you mean business about closing sales, you got to do different. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always had. It's the people that are willing to do what they've never done before that will get what they've never had before. And then here's another one as it relates to sending video. How about sending a celebrity video? And this is out to the ones that maybe you're an individual salesperson and you're selling down 6-figure, 7-figure revenue type closings. I'll tell you what, if I was a decision maker of yours and I got an email from Jerome Bettis a former Pittsburgh Steeler Hall of Famer, and he was sending me a video about your service and program, it would capture my attention. If nothing else, I would never forget it. Have you heard of this thing called Cameo? Cameo. These are like celebrity people doing cameo videos for you. You can send people birthday messages, whatever it might be. I wonder if you sent one of these celebrities your copy paste script, gave them a little bit of coaching, paid them $250 or $400, whatever it is, to crack the door to one of your biggest prospects. Have you ever thought about this? Have you ever been that creative? What if you got an email from a celebrity that you liked? What if you got a video from somebody like that? Would it capture your attention? I'll bet it would be. Matter of fact, if you think about all of your prospects right now that, man, if I could just get in the door, I would sell them. How many of them have ever received a personalized celebrity video? The answer, probably less than 1%, and most likely none of them. Will this make you stand out? Will it make you different? You bet it will, for very little cost, for very high return potentially. The second thing I would tell you to do is send a handwritten note. All right, Jeff, I'm out. You had me at the video, but now you're going to pull out this, do you want me to have Paul Revere jump on his horse and send out the handwritten letter as well? Hear me out. Hear me out. I know I always get hate for this. And you might be thinking, you know what, this is so old school. However, trust me when I say, hardly anyone is doing this anymore. And I promise, you will stand out by doing a handwritten letter. How many handwritten letters have you received in the last 12 months? How many? Less than 3? Less than 5? And for many of you, the answer is 0. You're making the point for me here. And you might be saying, well, Jeff, you know what? Nobody has time to be sitting down, with a pen or a pencil and literally, by the way, my handwriting sucks and yada, yada, all this. I got it. There's technology out there. Hey, y'all, it's 2024. There's technology that can absolutely help you do this. Services like sendoutcards.com, sendoutcards.com, sendoutcards.com. They'll help you do this. The one that is absolutely amazing with what they do is called handywritten.com. It's handywritten.com. Handywritten.com. I'm not paid to promote these guys, by the way. I'm just telling you, Handywritten, they literally use robots holding real pens to handwrite for you. If a handwritten letter is sent, even if you don't get the meeting, what I'm telling you is you're probably going to stand out. Next strategy I want to talk about is circle of leverage. Circle of leverage is something that not only did I do at a local door knocking type sales role, but I also did it when I became a global account manager, selling even to the likes of the Fortune 500 space. This circle of leverage, you can go out and Google it. This isn't my idea. The power to get in. I don't know even who to give credit for, but it's out there. And it's something that I learned years and years ago. I made some tweaks to it, but I found it absolutely to create interest, to create intrigue, and to put some internal peer pressure on some top decision makers within some of these accounts that you're trying to open the door for. Here's what we know. Real decision making is made at higher levels today than ever before. Why? Because it's harder than ever to get in to see some of these higher level decision makers. And people in the business world are more risk averse than they've ever been. There's a lot going on. The economy's choppy, inflation's happening, there's fear of the future, it's an election year. I mean, you could go down the list of all the different things that are causing people to be a little bit concerned. And so all the more reason why you're not getting in the door. Those with the highest access, the salespeople that can get the highest access are going to sell the most business. And gaining access the old way, hey, I promise to show you value. I can reduce your pricing. It's not effective anymore. They don't care as much. as a sales professional, we have to tip other levers and get creative to crack the door, to get in, to find the opportunity to present the value that we have. The circle of leverage, I've used this as a seeding methodology, and it creates a buzz. That's the whole point. It creates a buzz surrounding you, the sales professional, and it's going to help you gain access in. And this method is most effective at target accounts, big complex accounts, where you're not maybe 100% sure who the economic buying influence is. And you might be saying, Jeff, what's an economic buying influence? Go read the book, The New Strategic Selling by Miller Hyman. Shout out to that book. It helped me close a lot of target accounts. But this economic buying influence, their role is to give final approval. They have veto power. They control the release of money. They control budget. They have discretionary use of resources. They are the ones ultimately that can say whether this thing is moving forward or not. They are the final approval. They focus on bottom line and impact on their organization. They're asking questions like, what return are we going to get on this investment? And if you don't know who that person is, circle of leverage is a great way to approach this prospect. The concept includes the idea that people respond best when there's a consequence to the action or to the inaction. It's a higher level peer pressure. So check this out. You're going to find your prospects. You're going to find who you believe may influence the decision. 3 to 5 people within that organization. You're going to craft what I call a seed letter. It's going to be very specific. That's going to trigger some action. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to send this letter to these 4 to 6 people, those that might be surrounding the ultimate prospect. And they could be lower in the organization, they could be higher in the organization. And what this letter does is it acknowledges that you're sending this same letter to everybody. So you're sending this to Joe Smith, but in the bottom of the letter, you're carbon copying the 5 other people. So I'm sending this letter to the plant manager, but I'm also copying the general manager, the president, the CFO, and everybody else in the organization. What this starts to do is create some internal buzz. Oh my gosh, everybody else got this letter too? And it will start to compel people to begin to take action, especially at the mid-level, because they see that all the executives are also included on this. I have had more proactive calls into me from this sending this letter. Why, Jeff, why in the world did you copy all of these other people? Well, simply because I didn't know who was the decision maker. What it did was they weren't really interested in my product or service. They just saw all of these other influential people in the organization copied on this letter, so they became very proactive. Their level of urgency went up. Why? Well, because if this senior level person or this executive buyer or whatever it might be, the big boss person would ever ask them, hey, what do you know about this Jeff Hancher and his services? They now would have an answer for that. They would now know how to respond. So you have this internal peer pressure that's happening. It has often, for me, compelled people to pick up the phone and call me. Now, here's the thing. I don't want you to just send this letter out. By the way, if you want a copy of this letter sent right to your email, just email me at info@jeffhancher.com, and I'll get you a sample of this letter so that you can see it. But here's what you do. You craft this letter, and it's going to have all the assumed buying motives, the value that you can add, high impact, right? But brief and concise. You're not going to just send this letter in an envelope. Here's what I want you to do. You remember those old Tootsie Roll banks back in the day as a kid? Think tube, think cardboard tube, and don't get fancy. Just get cardboard, just brown cardboard. You can get these on Amazon for like 79 cents. I want you to go buy a ton of cardboard tubes. Each end you can open, they have a little bit of a plastic seal on the end. I want you to print that letter off on your letterhead. I want you to roll it up like a scroll. I want you to put 2 paper clips on either end of that so that it doesn't fan open and stick to the inside of the tube. So now you have this letter in the tube. I also want you to put 2 pennies in the tube. So your opening line of the letter is, hey, Mr. President, I was hoping to give you my 2 cents as it relates to your product or service. Fill in your blank of your product and service. So what's really the idea of the 2 pennies? It's not to give that little corny opening line. What it is designed to do is to make noise. So let me ask you this, listener, viewer, watcher. How many tubes have you gotten in your mailbox, cardboard tubes, have you gotten in your mailbox in the last 12 months? Less than 5? Less than 3? Most of you are saying what? 0. By the way, if you get a cardboard tube, you show up to your office and somebody's bringing you a stack of mail, or think about when you go home and there's a stack of mail sitting on the kitchen counter. If a tube came in the mail today, where is that tube in the pile? It's on top. And you're looking at a stack of flat envelopes and a tube that's sticking straight up in the air on the counter next to the stack. Which one are you going for first? You guessed it, the tube. And you pick this tube up and you hear clink, clink, clink. Here come the pennies. They're starting to make noise. Are you opening this tube? You bet I am. I'm opening this tube. I'm intrigued. I'm going to read this letter. Even if you never get an appointment, you know what you've just created? What we call in marketing as an impression. Now you have 5 people getting this exact same tube. And in that letter, you're letting them know that you're going to make a follow-up call. I'm going to make a call, and I am calling back. And if the phone doesn't ring in, which oftentimes it will, you set up a specific date and a specific time, and then you go and you have the conversation. That is the circle of leverage. The circle of leverage is a tremendous way to create this level of buzz. Try it and let me know how it works. If you want that letter, info@jeffhancher.com. The next thing I'll tell you is the bear email. I might have talked about this on the show in the past. If you are doing email prospecting, don't become too boring. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go out right now. You can do this if you're not driving, and Google bear sitting on a picnic table, B-E-A-R, bear sitting on a picnic table. It's the funniest picture you're ever going to see, and it's not AI. It's a literal bear. I don't know if he's in a campground or where he's at, but he's sitting on a picnic table. But this young bear has been used by me to send thousands of prospecting emails. How many junk emails do you get in your inbox? I get so many, to the point that I don't even read them, like you don't even read them. I just swipe and delete, swipe and delete. Some of them I even have on auto delete. They could be giving away gold. I would never know. Delete, delete, delete. What makes you so special to think that people are actually opening up your copy-paste emails and actually reading them? They're not. So where does the bear come into play? Well, there's a bear, a real bear, a legit bear that is on the top front and center of the email. So as soon as they open the email, all they're seeing is a bear, and they're looking at this and they're saying, man, that looks really silly. The subject line that you're going to use is, I can barely take it, with barely being spelled wrong. B-E-A-R-L-Y. Barely take it, in all caps. I can barely take it. And here comes the bear. Now they're like, I can barely take it, and there's a bear sitting there. I wonder what this is about. Right under the picture of the bear is your hard-hitting, powerful, interest-creating statement. What I'm trying to get that person to do is at least open the email, at least read it. Worst case scenario is you have an open email. Open rates matter. The other thing that you're getting is an impression. Even if they don't respond to the email, you have now taken up space in their mind. This thing is a marathon. It's not a sprint. What I'm trying to fight for is I'm trying to fight for time. I'm trying to fight for attention. This is what great salespeople do. So let me add to this real quick. Whenever you're executing any of these strategies, whether it's the bear email, the circle of leverage, the video, whatever, the handwritten letter, whenever you're executing on these, make sure you're not rambling you're not too broad with your approach. Concise and to the point is what every high-level decision maker is looking for. And whether it's a phone call, video, email, there are 4 critical steps that you can't miss. The first one is the introduction. This is Jeff. I'm with Jeff Hancher Enterprises, whatever. The second is the purpose. The reason I'm calling is we were able to help reference. The reason I'm calling is we were able to help ABC and XYZ. You got to have notable references that people will look at and say, wow, if they're doing it, maybe I should be doing it too. You know this as FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. So the second piece is purpose. The third piece is procedure and payoff. This is where you're going to let them know how you can help them. I can help you consolidate vendors. I can help you get the best value for your dollar. I can help you increase compliance. I can help you increase customer satisfaction. Whatever it is, this has to be the third piece. And then 4 is a call to action. This is, I would like to set some time to tell you more about this. This could be, the next step, whatever that is. So picture this. You have your phone in your hand. You got the LinkedIn app open. Brad is my decision maker. I'm just shooting him out a quick video to try to get a meeting with him to tell him more about my goods and services. And I would say, hey, Brad, it's Jeff Hancher with Jeff Hancher Enterprises. Listen, the reason that I'm reaching out is I've been able to help ABC and XYZ in your same industry by increasing the leadership culture in their organization, which helps them drive the level of turnover that they've had and attract top talent. And I'm confident that I could do the same thing for you. What I'd like to do is set up a meeting, a 30 to 40-minute meeting, show you some of the training programs and leadership development programs that we have to help you become world-class in the culture that you're building. I'm going to be available next Friday, and I wondered if 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock would work for you. I really hope to meet you, talk to you more about these programs, and partner with you to drive your leadership culture as well. All the best. Boom, put it down. 59 seconds or less. A call to action at the end. Now, I'm not getting videos. I have some references. I'm addressing what I assume are some biggest pain points that might resonate with Brad for him to just maybe respond and say, tell me more. Tell me more. I hope this is helpful. Melissa, I hope these strategies and these tactics have helped you think outside the box. I appreciate you being bold enough, Melissa, to send the question. Listener, if you have questions, send them to us. info@jeffhancher.com. However, I want to close by saying this. It is so important to note that sales prospecting ideas aren't about gimmicks or pushy tactics. That's not my goal of the episode today. It's about understanding your target audience, providing value before a sale, and building genuine connections every chance you get to do that. That's how the greatest salespeople win. However, sometimes you need to get creative and capture their attention to get out of the sea of sameness. So ditch the outdated methods, embrace creativity, and transform yourself into a prospecting expert. I'm wishing you all well as you continue to fill that sales pipeline. I know it's not easy, but it is so worth it. Make sure you sign up for our weekly newsletter at jeffhancher.com. That way you can be informed of our very next Sales Academy. Be a part of that. It's going to be happening in the fall of 2024, and we would love to see you in the room. Until next week, keep the creativity flowing and keep turning that pressure into potential.